It is complete nonsense, this song. It's like utter nonsense. And there's something so sexy about that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, what is a 10th Avenue freeze out? Does anybody know?
No, there's even a moment in a documentary about Bruce Springsteen where he's playing the song on an acoustic guitar, singing it to himself, and he sings the chorus, and he's like, I still don't know what that means. 10th Avenue. And it's just like, no, it doesn't mean anything,
Right.
but there's something about it that just gets me going.
Repetition is one of his greatest tools. It's one of his strongest tools. Because like in the back streets, you know, like how does that breakdown go with the in the back streets? He just says in the back streets over and over again for like 2 minutes. And it feels like it gets imbued with more and more feeling every time he says it. I don't know how he does it.
I think that gets at to why I love this song and a lot of Springsteen's music so much is the commitment.
Sure.
He can't sing.
Hot take.
He can't sing. You know, he's not a talented singer. He can obviously play the guitar.
Yeah.
But the commitment and the lyrics, like the way he's able to paint a picture in some of his songs, really does keep me in love with all of his music.
So the other one that we share is New York City Serenade, which is the closing track to The Wild, the Innocent, and the E Street Shuffle from 1973. Also another nonsensical song.
What do you like about that song, Tyler?
So in much the way that you were talking about how with 10th Avenue Freeze Out, we can just kind of get a little crazy, you know, because it jams into a breakdown that feels like so wildly emotional. And also feels like transportative in the sense that you feel like you're in this very particular kind of American story, this sort of American myth that I feel connected to when I listen to a Bruce Springsteen song like this, where it's like I don't clearly understand what exactly he's talking about, but I know it's somewhere out there in America, and I know that somebody's lonely and feeling a lot tonight, and he's going to say it over and over again because he can't help it. Like he just can't help but be overflowing with this sense of his place in the spiritual landscape of America, I think is what I love about that song. And I don't know somebody who is able to do that and remain as likable as he has. He's avoided controversy pretty damn well, it feels like. I can't.
So.
Yeah.
Entirely, as far as I know. He has a really great podcast that he did a few years ago. It's him and Obama. They basically interview each other, and it's amazing. It's so incredible to like hear these two voices speak on these really big they talk about the American dream. They talk about things that just you have so much to learn.
I'm assuming you did not get to see his Broadway show?
Not in person,
but
I
watched it on Netflix.
I know it's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix, yeah. Or it was, if they haven't taken it down.
Okay. How long was that show? Like how many songs does he pack into that?
Oh, it's gotta be a couple hours long, right?
For sure.
Like two.
2 hours.
A solid stuff? 2. I don't
with
quote me
stories in between.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And jumps off of the songs to tell stories or vice versa. Tells a story and then is like, and this is where that song came from.
Okay.
Yeah. Jack, your storytelling is who you are. Is kind of like one of the things that I love most about you. It's you have this pure creative imperative to share yourself through storytelling in a way that I feel like is unique among any of the people I've known in my life. I guess I wonder what effect do you feel like your love of Bruce has had on your own like kind of creative endeavors and your, if any?
Oh, absolutely.
Not to be leading.
Great question, Tyler. I appreciate that. I feel like loving Bruce Springsteen and his music has given me more permission to express myself. He's a man who gets to talk about all of these challenging aspects of what it means to be human in his music. I feel like being able to push off of that, give myself the same kind of permission. And also his poeticism, like the way that he allows himself to paint pictures with his words, I feel like has given me more, again, permission to also get grand in a way that I don't think before listening to his music I would have allowed myself that kind of
scope. Maybe.
Yeah, this is like to be able to like be that big of a dreamer.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's shown me like how clear you can be about your ideas and your art. And I've tried to, in some ways, replicate that. The same kind of willingness to speak to topics that maybe I would have been afraid to if I hadn't been listening to Springsteen's music.
Have you heard of a band called Pearl Jam?
I have.
Okay.
You love them.
I do. Yes, it is well documented.
It is well documented.
You can nod, you can shake your head, you can speak to this, or you want. We don't even need to address it. I just feel the need to submit for the approval of our listeners and the Midnight Society. Those of you who get that reference will know what that is. The song "Night" on this album. I think people give Eddie Vedder a lot of shit for his voice and the way it sounds and how sometimes you can't tell what he's saying. It's kind of growly. Tell me that is not the exact, like, on the way Bruce Springsteen sings on the song "Night," no idea what he's saying. Sort of that sort of like growly, like doing this through the whole thing. There is a direct connection. There are no degrees of Kevin Bacon between that. It is straight up the same. Agree? Disagree?
Agree.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
How they've been able to slide past with that is, I mean, I guess it's just the commitment. It's the gravitas.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And it's infected a whole bunch of artists in the ensuing decades. I mean, Dave Matthews has the same disease, right?
Don't say the next name you're going to say. I know what name you're going to say next.
I don't think you and I are on the same page right now. I don't know.
We're going to say it.
I won't say it. I don't know.
No, what are you going to say? Now you got to say it.
Well, I was just going to say Dave Matthews. You're
after that.
That was the only one I was going to say.
Okay, then
he got nervous that I was going to invoke something that we couldn't unsay on the pod. Yes. We got to be careful about these things.
This is really fun to watch you too.
We get all giddy when we're in the same space together. But I do think the unintelligible thing among men, like male rock artists of that era, there's something about them being able to do it in this particular kind of rock context, like Pearl Jam. Very much playing the same kind of venues as Bruce, and on the same scale as Bruce.
The same longevity too.
Same what you will about Dave Matthews, playing on the same kind of scale as Bruce ever did. It's kind of remarkable that these guys are carrying on this tradition. I mean, I guess you could say that the lineage then goes into like modern country and those kind of artists as well. There's some middle, like I mentioned before, there's some like path kind of like down the middle of the road that they've been able to walk that we still love so much. It's something about big rock thing during the summer when it's hot, when it's warm out, that it makes you feel free, doesn't it?
It does.
And I mean, Eddie Vedder loves Bruce Springsteen. And also there's also a lot of Pearl Jam songs about leaving this town. Like, I mean, it's like, it's a real clear connection there. I just want to acknowledge it when people give Eddie Vedder shit. So, Jack, for this exercise, for this grand experiment of our podcast, we asked you to submit perfect albums to us. We did not define the word perfect for you. So we're curious to know, what are or were your standards for perfection when it comes to an album?
I think I picked this album, the main reason, because I feel like every song to me is telling the same story. I feel like every song is continuing on a theme, and it's in the title too, like Born to Run. At the same time, every song, while it's telling the same story, does feel different. I think walking that line, the biggest reason why I picked it.
Like a sort of thematic coherence or something along those lines?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are there skips?
I do sometimes skip.
Yeah, what do you skip?
I skip Backstreets.
Really?
That's a song that I don't listen to. And Night. That song is another one that I will skip sometimes.
It's not long. I mean, it's not a long album. It's only 40 minutes long.
I almost picked the first song on this album, Thunder Road. I think it is the best opening to any song ever.
Oh, yeah.
The screen door slams, Mary's dress sways. Like, it just brings me into this picture that I just go, oh, yeah, I want to listen to this song. It just really brings me into the whole album.
How often would you say you're listening to this album? Like how often does it come up for you?
I go through phases where I'll listen to it all the time, and then I won't listen to it for months. But it definitely comes back up.
How about him selling his catalog back in 2021?
I'm going to be honest, I didn't know that happened.
You didn't?
Yeah. Can you tell me more about that?
So 2021, he sold his catalog for $550 million. I guess I don't really know, actually. I would need to look into more. I believe that the entities that are buying these catalogs are basically media conglomerates like Sony and it's like
now
investment firms.
Now,
kind of
if
stuff.
his music ever gets used for something, well, they get the money for it. Also, I don't know if Bruce has the ability to say no, you can't use that. I don't know, but I feel like that would get sticky. There must be something in the clause, because I feel like if a specific political candidate tried to use his music, he would want to intervene and be like, absolutely not.
I'm sure there's some
I'm sure there's something like that.
Legal,
but it does mean that like now, if anyone ever covers a Bruce Springsteen song on an album, the royalties for that go to Sony, not to Bruce, I think.
Or whoever bought it. Yeah, so it was $550 in 2021, which was the highest ever at that time. Was then eclipsed by an entity purchasing, I believe, 60% of control over Michael Jackson's catalog for $600 million. And that was just for half of it. And then, and because it's skyrocketed, inflation, like whatever, but, and then Queen's catalog just sold for like $1.67 billion or something. I don't know. We're going to see more of this, right? We're going to see more of this over the next couple decades, is that these foundational artists that we have, either their estates are going to make a killing on selling the rights to their catalog, or there's going to be legal battles, I think, in the ensuing decades, which I think it all contributes to this conversation of like, who fucking owns this music? Whose is it? Isn't it yours? Isn't Born to Run yours, Jack?
I own it, yeah.
Mentioning Queen real quick, the fact that you also liked Queen, it makes sense to me. Like, there's something in the like theatricality.
That's the word that popped into my head. Yeah.
Like, I mean, especially Queen. Like, Freddie Mercury was a showman. Mm-hmm. And like Bruce Springsteen is like a different sort of showman, so it makes sense to me that like they'd be the two that are like your ride or die, if you will. I know you didn't say that. I'm putting words in your mouth.
I wouldn't say that that's very far off, though. If I had to point to two artists or bands that are my ride or die, it very well could be.
You talked about how you didn't really have an appreciation for him before, and then kind of started this love affair, circumstantial love affair, starting over 12 years ago now. How has this relationship with Bruce Springsteen's music affected your relationship with other music now moving forward? Do you find that you are receptive to falling in love with other music now in a way that you weren't pre-Bruce?
I do think Springsteen and falling in love with Springsteen's music did teach me about what it means for me to like music. So I guess it did develop a barometer inside of me to say, ooh, I like this. I'm allowed to like this. This is something for me. So just opening up those gates.
Like I guess we could do the first Billy Crudup question of the season, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a little feature that we started last season, and it's basically what at the end of Almost Famous, Patrick Fugit's character asks Billy Crudup's character, "What do you love most about music?" And I want to put that question to you in as few words as possible. What do you love most about music?
Brings me closer to friends. I mean, sitting across from you here, Tyler, I feel like one of the reasons why I love Bruce Springsteen so much is because of you. Because we've been able to celebrate his music passionately over years. Nube, when I visited her in Seattle, she bought me a Bruce Springsteen poster when we were out together, a vintage Springsteen poster. And I was like, I can't take this. I'm going on a plane. I can't take this. And she was like, I'll ship it to you. So she shipped it to me. I haven't hung it yet. I'm sorry, Nube, but
it's hard to know you got to frame that probably.
I do. Yeah. That's an investment. And
you gotta like an expensive framing.
Exactly.
Someone do it.
The real deal. Yeah.
So I think that is at the core of it for me is, my ability to love this music with people that I love.
Hear, hear, man. I couldn't agree more. I look forward to all the... So, it's getting corny on This One Goes to 11, guys, but I'm here for every bit of it. I can't wait for all of the moments in the rest of our lives where we're gonna get to put on a Bruce song and mark those moments. Your wedding, we already had Bruce at your wedding.
Yeah, it was our first dance.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't really do much dancing or playing music at our reception. It was mostly at dinner, but Alison and I did dance to a cover of Fire. And it was hot.
It was. I was there. It was great. I just can't wait for that. I can't wait to see what other ways Bruce is going to come up in our shared lives moving forward.
Me too.
All right, well, Tyler, you got to put away the subjectivity
Okay.
now. Okay.
Washing
We
my
have to-
hands.
We have to judge. We have to evaluate
Yes.
Jack's case.
We're entering the deliberation phase.
Dun, dun.
All right. So, Michael, how do you feel like Jack did making his case for why Born to Run is perfect?
I mean, I think that your story about attending a Bruce Springsteen concert by yourself for $100,
which is cheap now, by the way.
Yeah,
that's
that's
probably
true. Barely knowing any of the music, but simply because it was the guy who was on the poster on your theater teacher's door, and then just being there, and then the lyrics. I mean, like wanting to get out of town, like that, just resonating with you. I mean, like. Yeah, of course I could see why this would be the perfect album for you. One of the things I dig about a lot of the Pearl Jam songs that I like is that sense of like, it's got to get out of here. I don't know what it is. Maybe you and I should talk at some point.
What is it about us?
I know we got something more in common that we haven't tapped into yet.
Yeah.
But for me, that was when so early on you had me. What about you, Tyler?
Yeah, I think you raise all of the classic points that we over 7 seasons have found really indicate an album that is worthy of capturing someone's heart, right? And I love that this was the one you chose, Born to Run, as a title, that just works so well for you, that the very sentiment and all of the weight that carries, that makes so much sense. You choosing 10th Avenue Freeze Out as your standout track means that you were stacking the deck to make sure that I would agree with you, but you can put your finger on the scales as much as you want, buddy, because geez, yeah, those are some of the happiest times of my life. Sharing these songs with you in the apartments that we lived in together. I'm not seeing many holes in this argument, Michael. I'm thinking like it's a pretty strong case.
You think
put it to me.
Put it to you. All right, let's try this again. So Tyler, you've heard his case.
Yes.
I've asked you to be as objective as possible. All right.
Yes.
But he also is sitting right across from me here.
It's hard.
Okay? Yeah. Tyler.
Yes.
Mr. Esselman. My redheaded Viking. You like that one? That was a little better than last time. I didn't. Yeah,
that's good.
Is Bruce Springsteen's Born to Run a perfect album? Does it go to 11? Can it join the pantheon, Tyler?
All the way to 11. It's a perfect album. You did it.
Oh.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, buddy. This is awesome that we get to do this. Sitting here in an undisclosed location in
this very nice undisclosed location.
I know it's a lovely place that we've managed to gain access to record. Couldn't be more grateful that you were able to join us today.
Me too.
Jack, you got any projects you want to shout out or plug, or I don't know, anything you want to say to our lovely listeners?
Lovely listeners, if you're in Chicago, there are 2 projects I'd love to plug. The first. And a friend of the pod, Gil Tanner, he's been on it twice.
Yes, yeah.
So you've heard his sultry voice on this pod before.
Oh, it is sultry.
He wrote a sketch show that Alison and I and some other performers are going to be in. It is going to be the last 2 Saturdays. Did I say Sunday? I'm already.
Last 2 Saturdays.
Last 2 Saturdays of September.
We'll put a link in the bio. Yeah.
We're also at Green Shirt doing a production of POTUS by Selena Fillinger the weekend before the election. 3 performances of POTUS the weekend before the election. So you want to come have a good time? You want to laugh? You want to cry? You want to throw some things? Come hang out.
I've read that play. They throw a lot of shit.
They do.
That's a messy play.
So we're going to have some fun doing that. It's all Green Shirt affiliated people involved, so it's just an exciting thing for our community to get to do, and it's going to be awesome.
And Jack is one of my favorite actors in the entire world, so you should definitely go see him perform anytime you can. You'll see the link to Green Shirt Studios info in the pertinent places where you can find text related to this podcast. You got anything else, Michael?
No, just other than just to thank you, Jack, for joining us.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
All right, dear listeners, go listen to a little Bruce Springsteen.
Oh, and like and subscribe.
Like and freaking subscribe. We love you. Talk to you soon. Bye.